Hey there, and welcome to the Best You Nation. We're excited for you, and we hope that this podcast will help you grow, optimize your 24 hours in a day, and help you live elevated. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Best You Nation. We are super excited today because we have an amazing guest joining us, spotlighted on the Best You Nation. Kaylee Norton. What's going on, homegirl?
Going good. It's been great.
Welcome.
We are so excited for you to be here with us. And before we really get started, we kind of want to introduce you and who you are and what you're doing. And you're more welcome to steal the mic and tell us more about yourself. But first of all, for everyone out there who's listening, Kaylee is in school, as most young adults are. They're in college, whether they're finishing up, just getting started, for entertainment management. Very interesting career path, which I'm really proud of you for going for, because I know you've had some kickback from some people, some naysayers. You've been dancing all your life. That's one of your hobbies, one of your exclusive things you like to do, and would love to hear more about that sometime. And you've been shuffling, from what I understand, for 2 years now, which is watching your stuff on Instagram, and I'm like, mind blown. But
hey, the girl's got some dance moves. She got some dance moves. Talent, real talent right there.
So, but listen, we wanted to just bring you on here today because we're gonna have an amazing conversation about something that you personally experienced. And I think everybody out there at our age, young age, as well as Adler's age, I'm calling you out before you call me out, bro.
Hey,
but
you gotta include the dinosaurs. You have to do that.
Yeah, the Adlersaurus Rex.
Yeah, man. Hey, I'm old. I got back pain.
Oh, stop.
I just real quick. I want to touch on something real quick. First of all, Kaylee, can you teach Finn and I how to shuffle? Is that something that, like, because I feel like you're a dancing pro extraordinaire. So if you could teach us to, then I feel like that means that you're on like a whole level on your own right there.
Yeah, when are we doing this? I'm ready.
This is perfect. Hey. So I'll be back in Florida in a couple weeks, so we can get this done.
Sounds good.
And next, I just want to kind of just for our fans out there, Kaylee, she is the daughter of Rich, which he was on our. I forget, was it 8 or episode 9, something like that. I can't remember which one it was.
I think it's episode 8.
Yeah, but Rich was on it, and he pointed us in the direction of the lovely Kaylee, and we have had the pleasure of kind of just chit-chatting and talking a little bit, and we look forward to kind of jumping into a common, I think it's like a common problem or a common situation amongst the youth, people in their 20s, 30s. But without further ado, Finn, give us a topic.
So today, wow, you put me on the spot for this one. Okay, but that's okay because, it's true. We are dealing with, I feel like a lot of people in this year, especially, I think, there's just been a lot of separation. Number one, everything we've been talking about this whole year, building people up to grow. This season specifically was talking about love. And we wanted to end out this season to rejuvenate people on the topic of love. And this is a very important topic because I think that anybody really, Adler, from 20, 30s, 40s, beyond, and Kaylee, I'm sure you can attest for that, knowing people that the balance of love and knowing the balance of love, and not only in just day-to-day interactions, but with relationships, with people we encounter. Today, we're going to be talking about that. And I think that having this conversation is going to give people insight and perspective from your eyes and Adler's eyes and my eyes. And people are going to start listening and thinking, oh my gosh, this is great, because it is something I feel like I come across a lot of people who are constantly butting heads because they can't find that balance. They're trying to integrate their own awesomeness, trying to make a partnered awesomeness that doesn't always work out. So without further ado, and we keep saying that, without further ado, we want to give you a chance to just maybe introduce yourself a little bit more on top of what we've brought up to the table, talking about you.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about your background, what you're doing, what you're passionate about, and let's get rolling with this today.
Yeah, you can introduce yourself and then tell us a little bit of what balance of love means to you personally.
Okay, yeah. Well, I guess you guys have pretty much covered everything with dancing, all that stuff. I love to go to the beach, all that. And I think with love, it's from my own personal experiences. I've dealt with a horrible relationship in the past, very insecure on both ends, controlling, just verbally abusive. And I think everyone goes through those types of relationships, no matter what age you're at. And I think just something I really want to talk about today is growing in yourself and how to grow confidence and self-love and realizing your worth from, and just getting out of that relationship and how to grow and get over that and overcome all that. So I think that's just a very important topic that people definitely need to hear, and coming from experience and how I've grown from going from that unhealthy relationship and realizing my self-worth and then putting that into a very healthy relationship. So it'd be nice to help people with that.
That's amazing. That's awesome. That's really, and I appreciate that, because you know what? Adler and I can both say we've, been on here. We always say this. We're not love coaches. We're not, we're not psychologists, but we do believe that experience is an exclusive aspect of being human. We get to go through things in life, whether it be love, whether it be just a conditioning season for ourselves to get better. I mean, that's the whole focus of this podcast, is we're helping people, managing the drive, helping people optimize their 24 hours to live elevated. Like, these are things that we talk about, and yes, it's easier said than done. So, I'm excited to pick your brain and get to hear your experience, and not to say like that's just to pick your brain, but to pick your brain because these are things that people need to hear. People need to know that these are, confident people at one point were insecure, like you mentioned. Everybody starts somewhere. And Adler and I have talked about that on the show before too, that we've been through our own season of insecurities, and it's just part of growth. And I love that you said that growth is it's a choice, being able to get up in the morning and want to go and change and get up and go and say, you know what, I'm done with this. I want to do something different, or I want to get better at this.
And I agree with you, Finn. I mean, growth is sometimes a choice, because I believe that like sometimes you can wake up and decide, hey, I want better. I choose better. So it's going to happen. But sometimes life is or experience, life, whatever you want to call it, is a cruel teacher, and you just learn on the fly, and it's kind of like forced growth. You get kicked out the nest and you have to learn how to deal with it right then and there. So at least my question to you, Kaylee, and everybody's different. You were talking about how like it was such a horrible experience, but my question comes from like, when you were talking about the insecurities and so on and so forth, when you were actively in the situation, could you identify it? Or was it one of those things that like after you had walked away, you look back and like, whoa, that was insane. That was crazy.
Honestly, I think certain parts of the relationship, I definitely noticed that it was very unhealthy and very controlling. But of course, when you're in that situation, it's hard to really see that because you're so blinded by everything. And getting out of the situation, you definitely realize like, oh, maybe it definitely wasn't all of them. It's definitely partially my fault too. And I think it's very important to recognize your mistakes and grow from what you have experienced.
Completely agree.
Mm-hmm.
In that situation, what did you like, if there was one thing that you could like nail it down to, what was the one thing that you learned and like you took away from that whole entire situation?
Just how important it is to really give effort into a relationship, and how important it is to not only love that person, but you have to love yourself first. If you don't love yourself, there's no love to give to someone else.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think and I don't know if it's just our age group or whatever the case may be, but I feel like we get into this mindset that when you get with somebody, it's like, okay, so you kind of lose yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And and this is my own personal opinion. I don't necessarily think that's right. You guys, like when two people get together, you guys are two separate like individuals, entities. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's difference between like learning how to, build a life together, but you guys are still have your own like individual lives. You shouldn't prioritize your life together more than you prioritize your own life. I think
Exactly.
there has to be a balance of both. So,
Yes.
like, romantically speaking, if I get into a situation, I should be able to have my love life, and then I should also be able to have my career, or I should have whatever it is that, of my choosing. But you have to realize that you guys are two separate individuals, and there's nothing wrong with you still focusing on your own personal goals. It's
Mm-hmm.
just trying to figure out like a routine to merge the two different worlds into one.
Yeah, that's why I think it's so important to really focus on your own passions and your own goals, even though you're in that relationship with them. Just really focusing on yourself and working on yourself to grow that relationship also.
Love it.
And Finn,
And now
um,
I was gonna
oh,
go for it.
no, I was just gonna ask you like, because I'm pretty sure you've been in a situation where like you had to kind of come to decide like, what you were gonna do with that relationship because you had your own personal goals and it was conflicting with like your own relationship. So I just wanted to know
Yes.
how you dealt with it.
Yeah, no, actually, I was gonna actually share just a brief synopsis of it. I'm glad you asked. It wasn't easy because especially every person and every person in a relationship individually is different. Um, we have these expectations. We talked about this before. The expectations that we have for ourselves when we get in a relationship, a lot of us, and this is very common, we have this mindset that we're going to get together, we become one, and we become one right then and there. You have to do everything together. And I think off air, Kaylee, you even said this, that you and your present boyfriend now, your relationship that you're in now is so healthy because you both have your individual life, but you also come together at the end of the day, still having y'all's life together as boyfriend and girlfriend, which is really healthy. If you can focus on you and the other person focus on themselves, but also still come in the middle and say, hey, let's hang out and do this and
Mm-hmm.
still grow together. That's really, really healthy. So with that being said, that's something that I was trying to do in a relationship with a female that I was with. It was actually about a year ago this month, about a week ago, a year ago, that I had to call quits on the relationship because I was in a place where I felt like we weren't growing. And my awesomeness individually is awesome. Her awesomeness individually was awesome, but we just weren't working together. And on multiple occasions, we talked about being compatible, being able to compromise. And I'm a very forgiving person. I give a lot of chances, and I'm very optimistic. I'm like, you know what? We'll be able to push through. We'll be able to power through. We'll be able to get over this. Let's talk about it. Yada yada yada. But when you get to a point where you are stagnant and you're not really able to go forward, and you're insecure because you go to the store, and I think I mentioned this before on an episode, I literally would we'd go to Target and I couldn't say hello to people because I feel like if I said hello, she would freak out on me. Like, oh my gosh, you don't talk to anybody, or you talk to everybody else but me. And it's like, no, I'm just a friendly person. I say hi to everybody. And it was immediate. Like, I couldn't even do that without being policed on how to be myself. So at some point in a relationship, in that relationship specifically, I had to decide whether or not I was going to continue. Did I want to be, stuck where I'm not really growing because I'm believing in and having hope? Sometimes I think we're in a relationship and you don't really observe it or recognize it while you're in the relationship as it being toxic or being hindering until you're actually out of the situation and you're standing on the backside going, whoa, that is crazy. And it sucks that sometimes you get to a point where you're arguing with this person or you're disputing with this person, but you have to remember, again, what Kaylee, you said, love yourself first. I think I have separated myself so far from God. I felt like my relationship with God became very, very distant. I was tired. I was exhausted. I was in EMT school, and I was just going through so many different things. And I was just like, you're supposed to be my, I'm not expecting you to be the, my cheerleader or vice versa. But at the same time, if we're going to be growing together, and I don't see that part of you, because I was doing that. I felt like it was very one-sided towards the end of the relationship. And that's when I said, I got to go.
So I think that, people in our age group, and, obviously I'm slightly older than both you guys, but I think that
Adler Saurus Rex.
We can, pretty much. I think that we confuse compatibility with compromise.
Mm-hmm.
So, meaning, in relationships, you're supposed to compromise. You're supposed to, all right, hey, because, it's a give and take. You don't want me to do X, Y, and Z, so I'm going to alter this behavior because it makes you feel this way. But sometimes you also got to understand that it's not necessarily a compromise. It's just it's a compatibility factor. You should be able to go to the store and say hello, and there should be a level of confidence knowing that, hey, you know what, this is my guy, this is my man or whatever, and he's just being the same person that I initially was attracted to. Mm-hmm. It can't become the one thing that attracted you to me becomes my biggest weakness now.
Yeah, exactly. You can't limit yourself for someone else.
Exactly. So if I was chit-chatting and talking to just about any person, whether it's a old lady that walks into the grocery store or the mosquito that flies past me, I was doing that right before I met you. And now, because we're in this, now you want me to change that. That's initially what attracted you to me. So
right.
That doesn't make sense.
But let me question you on this. Is it because of I don't know. And the things I learned as much as I could about her at the time, and I'm not trying to just talk about my relationship because that relationship was great. I learned a lot about myself. And again, it's even what Kaylee said. It's not just, I learned that I had made mistakes. There are some things that I should have done better that I could have initiated differently. I'm I don't want to say aggressive in a mean or a bad way. I'm just very I'm a go-getter. So when I want to grow with you, I'm going to tango with you. It takes two to tango. And I'm the type of person is if we're slow dancing, let's slow dance. If we're going to do some bachata, let's do it. Let's do whatever the flow is going to give us. Okay. But the reality is that I just started to feel like I wasn't really able to, I was giving so much of me that I wasn't really getting a return or an understanding. And I felt like there was a lot of insecurities. And I started feeling insecure because somebody else's insecurities. And I feel like we do that in our relationships. And we don't do it intentionally, but it's like that rub off kind of effect.
Yeah.
Like you're around somebody, and Kaylee, I don't know if you can attest for that in your previous relationship where, again, when you're in the relationship, sometimes it's hard to see what's going on because you're in it. You don't see the imbalances. You don't see the 51 to 49% of who's giving more, who's giving less, who's more insecure, who's not. Are we both as insecure? There's just a lot of different factors that play in. And
I think that when you get to that point, like what you're discussing, where you're the insecurities and so on and so forth, that people start to take everything they take everything to offense so easily. Mm-hmm. So you're in this this sensitive emotional state where you're just like what you said. It's oh, I do this for you and I've done this for you. Now you start keeping track of these small petulant things that don't mean anything. And you keep going back and forth well, I did this for you and you didn't respond to X, Y, and Z and da da da, and you start to get upset because you guys are now it's this petty back and forth squabble. And my question to you, Kaylee, is at what point, and I mean if it's if you feel like it's too personal, that's fine. But at what point did you just say you kind of woke up and you said, hey, this is something I need to get out of?
So trying to think, honestly, the whole relationship was just a disaster. So I think I just knew the whole relationship that I wanted to get out, but I think I was just so insecure in myself that I was scared to just be alone, if that makes sense. I kind of wanted a relationship, and I was scared that I wasn't going to find anything else. So I think it was just hard for me to leave that relationship because I was so insecure in myself. And yeah, that's basically what it was.
No, yeah, and I mean, I completely understand, because that's a scary place to be,
Mhm.
because like when you're in that insecurity like mindset, you're just like, well, I don't deserve anybody else, or I can never find anybody else that would be able to handle me and everything else that comes with me.
Mhm.
And I think we touched on like this on like one of like the early episodes. Love to us is like, I love you in spite of whatever that flaw or weakness is. I don't love you for what you bring to me and the fact that you add this to my life. I love you in spite of the fact that you're sloppy, you leave your dishes all over the place. I love you in spite of the fact that sometimes you chew with your mouth open. Who knows? Like, like these small things that like, it's like, okay, it could be a negative, but regardless of that negative, I still care about you. I still love you, regardless of whatever it is that it might be.
And Kaylee, I got a question for you. And this is, so we talked about, you were in this relationship and you had these moments where you felt, and I'm on to be honest with you, I can relate to you 100%. I was actually, as the guy in a relationship, and I don't know, I'm not in everybody's life. Everyone has a different approach in a relationship. I actually experienced that feeling of loneliness too. And I've mentioned it before in a previous episode, kind of why. I had learned to, like, I know this is weird, like learning to ride a bike for me was the same thing with girls. I learned to talk to girls. It was the coolest, the greatest thing ever. You could be confident, you could be yourself, just communicate, right? That's a really important factor anyways, in any relationship, whether it's friends, dating somebody or getting married to somebody. Communication is like the exclusive, probably the most important. But when you got out of this relationship, at some point, you probably were like, man, I'm never going to be able to get into another one. Maybe. I personally thought that too. But at what point did you start saying, you know what? I got this. I'm going to start loving me. When did you start having that moment? When was the moment that you started saying, I got to focus on Kaylee. I got to start focusing on me, my school, my dancing, my hobbies, my life, my parents, my siblings. When was that moment for you? Because at some point, I'm going to ask you how that moment actually got you to the relationship you are in today. Because clearly you're in a much better place in a relationship. You're doing fantastic. You're getting ready to graduate. I mean, you got things going for you. At what point did Kaylee Norton say, I got to start focusing on me and nothing else?
I think definitely after when me and my ex broke up, it was hard at first, and I started to realize that I can't just sit here and mope around all day. I can't keep laying in bed and crying about this whole situation I can't control anymore. So I remember there was one day where I actually sat down and I was like, I want to get my life together and I want to follow my dreams and I want to pursue dancing. I want to do this. I want to do that. And I kind of just sat there and wrote out all of my goals. And I started to, that's when I realized, I was like, I need to start loving myself, because I even I tried going into a different relationship or like completely right after it. That was a disaster. And I was like, no, I can't do this. I need to be myself. I need to focus on myself. And it was hard because I was just so insecure. So I ended up going to the gym. I wanted to look my best. I wanted to focus on my internal self. I'd literally wake up in the morning, I'd be like looking in the mirror, and my dad tells me to do this all the time. He's like, look in the mirror and say great things about yourself. So I'd be like, you are beautiful, you are this, you are that. Just starting the day positively. And
rebuilding your confidence. Yeah.
Yes. And I would just start habits. I would sleep, eat healthy. I mean, literally just focusing on myself. And then, yeah, I feel like people are constantly looking for love, and you can't do that. You have to just be yourself, and then something will come along the way. I mean, God's going to throw something at you when you're ready. And if you're not ready for something like that, then you won't have a healthy relationship. So I feel like that's just so important.
And I think that, like, especially what's that rule of thumb? It's like people are in your life for a reason, a season, or for a lifetime, right? And that goes not just in relationships, but that goes for your friendships and you know so on and so forth, whatever. But like I think I go back to something that was it was 10 years ago now. At this point, I was 19. I was dating somebody, and it was a very, like, in hindsight, I look at it as like how toxic it actually was, to the point where, like, I'm a social butterfly for the most part, and I'm very confident in myself. So much to the point, like, sometimes, like, yo, you're kind of full of yourself. Relax, Adler. And I remember this was probably like one of the darkest times of my life, and probably one of the most defining moments in my, like, as I was entering into my 20s. I was with somebody. We had gone to high school together, and I thought it would be a good idea to date, even though there was a whole bunch of flags right before. And it got to, like, this ugly stage where we were just like, it was like she had me under her thumb, and then she could get away with just about anything and just do anything. And then she ended up, like, cheating, and because I was in that headspace where I was just like, well, nobody would want me, and why wouldn't anybody want to deal with me when she's dealing with it, and she tells me about all these horrible things that I do wrong, and so on and so forth, and like all these insecurities. So you start to lie to yourself, and so she cheats on you. Obviously at cheating, you gotta be like, all right, hey, I have enough self-respect, I'm out, or whatever the case may be. But I remember thinking to myself, okay, well, nobody would really want me anyway, so I guess we can find a way to make this work. And it was like, probably the most detrimental thing I probably could have done to my psyche at that point, because now I'm feeling insecure about myself, and then now I'm questioning everything that she's doing, and you haven't text back in, like, 5 minutes. Oh God, who's she under now? Like, so, like, whatever. Like, it got to a point where I think that in hindsight, as I'm older now, but the way I handled it when I decided, because there's a breaking point where you just, like, wake up and, like, all right, this is it. I can't deal with this anymore. And if in hindsight I would have handled it a little bit better, I would have just sat down, talked to him, like, hey, look, it's over, whatever. The way that I did handle it was super immature, and basically, it's the best way to describe it without going into too much detail is like taking, like, there's a bridge, and then taking gasoline and just lighting a match to it and just say, ha, take that, and just burn that bridge completely. So and at the time, I thought that was the best way to do it, because hurt feelings, whatever, just leave it as is. But I eventually ended up, like, maybe 6 years later, like, going back and, like, sending, like, a text saying, hey, look, I definitely think that we shouldn't be together, but I just want to let you know that I am so sorry for how I handled things and the way that I did X, Y, and Z. I just want you to know that I harness absolutely no ill will, no malice, no hard feelings. And, I did send out a message like that.
I wish I would have gotten that response, because my response was the night that she was actually at my place, this was during Hurricane Dorian, and I didn't think I was going to work. And basically, long story short, I came home after a long day of work. I'm like, hey, listen, I don't think this is going to work. She was blowing my phone up all day long. Now, me, I'm the kind of person, I'm a social bug 100%. There's no question about it. That's me. And I was like, yo, she's like, what's wrong? I'm like, it's just long day. She's like, oh, okay, you want to talk? I'm like, yeah, we need to talk. And she's like, about what? Is it about work? I'm like, no, it's about us. And the whole conversation went down this, like,
but we need to talk. It's never a good thing.
No, but she thought, because I was like, it was a long day, she thought it was about work. And I said, no. Now, it's really bad. This is probably a little too much to add, but I actually had chest pain. Like, I was stressed out. I was stressed. And I'm like, at that point, I'm going to take care of me. And that's pretty bad. I sometimes joke, and this is not I don't know if it's appropriate at work to tell somebody, hey, chest pain can be for multiple reasons. And I jokingly say, and this sucks. It sucks that I even say this right now, but it's the truth. I actually was hurting because I said, this isn't going to work. And I genuinely wanted to help and grow and be me, because I know me. I want to trust somebody. I want to, build with this person. I ended up taking her home. She lives in Tampa. I live obviously here in Orlando, and I very kindly and respectfully drove her home. First 15 minutes were the best 15 minutes of that drive. After that, she was yelling at me, that gasoline on fire, the bridge was inside the car. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm driving. Please stop. Just relax. We can argue and fight later, but right now I'm driving. So the rest of the hour and 30 minutes that I'm driving, I'm hearing her scream and yell, and it's probably not the safest thing to do. But the reason I'm saying this is that it's all this is going on, and somebody who's doing you and me a favor to continue to have our own individual awesomeness, to not burn our own individual awesomeness, because sometimes it happens in relationships. That's where we become insecure. There's a gap. It's kind of like I don't know, the International Space Station, I don't know, random fun fact, had a little hole in it somewhere, and they were saying that it was leaking and stuff like that. If there's a hole in that relationship and it's leaking, something's not right. It needs to be fixed. And I felt that. And I got home. I dropped her off at home. I gave her a hug, and I told her, I said, listen, this isn't about you. This isn't about me. This is about us having to focus on our own individual situation. Us together isn't going to work, but that doesn't mean that you're less or greater leaving this relationship. And same for me. I want you to continue to your education. I want you to continue to grow. I want you to continue to focus on what you're going to do, because you're going to be fantastic at whatever you do. But sometimes it's discouraging for people who do make the decision that have to let go and to continue, because growth comes from two people. If you're, especially in relationships, comes from two people individually working together and obviously together. So I haven't heard from her, and I haven't talked to her. I forgave her. I let it all go. I hope the best for her. That's how I always seen it and I always looked at it. But I will be honest, it sucked, because it's like, man, I felt for the longest time I'd never be able to ever talk to anybody again and ever be in a relationship, because that's just how you think and how you feel. That's that mindset that you're stuck in, even afterwards. So yeah, that was the response that I got, which is a little flip side to you. You blew up, but this girl blew up on me. And I'm not saying that's a response we have, because emotions are like all over the place. Yeah. But I don't know.
Well, I mean, and I just to be candid about everything. So I sent my text message like 5 or 6 years later, and the response I got wasn't so nice. But I completely understand where she's coming from, and I get it. I just told her, I was like, hey, I wish you absolutely nothing but love. Wish you the best of luck. And like, I harness no ill will or malice. But my most important thing is, if I'm going to be miserable, then I'd rather be the self-inflicting misery versus being miserable with somebody else and having the source of the misery right there. Because if I'm miserable, hey, that's on me. Now, if we're miserable, that's on us. So I like there is a I guess peace, or whatever you want to call it. Like there's this mental clarity where like you get comfortable enough being like, all right, hey, I'm comfortable being by myself. I don't need somebody else. I may want somebody else, but I don't need somebody else. So if I decide to, hey, I'm going to pursue this, just know that, hey, we can make this work, obviously, but at the same time, if it doesn't work, I'm okay. Like I'll be fine. Like I'll bounce back, and I'll figure out, like I'll collect the pieces, and I'll figure out what I'm doing next afterwards.
And so, Kaylee, you are now, and this is why I was bringing it up, you're now in a place where you are, I would assume, happier. And
you look happy.
Thank you, I am.
Hey, you know what? Hey, just real quick, give a shout out to the special guy in your life, because I know he's probably going to listen to this or see this. Just give a nice little shout out. Be like, hey, I love you, babe.
I do. I love him so much. His name is Justin Parks. Shout out to this, because I know you're going to listen to all of it. He's my biggest cheerleader. I swear, it's crazy.
We love you, Justin. You don't know us, but we love you.
Yes.
But yeah, he's it's just crazy because I feel like it's so important to, even going into a new relationship after you've been through such a hard one, it's still important to carry on your own growth and your own self-love within that relationship. And I know it's hard at first when you like get into that new relationship, you're all caught up with everything, you're like, let's spend time together every day, every second, like you're so into it. But it's so important not to do that, because I know I've seen a lot of relationships where they spend too much time together and that ends up being a hard time with that. But
Yeah.
I feel like it's just so important to find your passions and find what you're passionate about and continue to grow in that area. And if they truly love you, if you're such a busy person, they'll understand, and they'll understand that we need to grow separately in order to be good together, and then
Preach.
spend that time together. It's so good. But
Preach. I'm feeling it. I love it. Preach. Say it. Say
Wisdom
it.
nugget right there. You dropped that one right on the ball.
I just want to say, because just after hearing you say this, I kind of got goosebumps. I'm gonna put you on the spot real quick. I just want to let you know, Finn and I make awesome wedding guests. Just whatever. Just I'm not in the future, way down the line. I'm an awesome wedding guest. I love to dance. I love to sing. Sometimes I might steal the mic. It's whatever. And
yes,
Finn and I, we have fun. So if for some reason later, way later, obviously, way later, you decide to do that, I wouldn't mind being part of that celebration. But that being said, I'm just gonna go from one awkward situation to another one. Ladies and gentlemen of the Best U Nation, I think it's time that we have to officially call out Finn Foster, largely because in the beginning of the season, and I feel like I was very polite about it. I didn't bring it up on any other episodes, but this is the very last episode of this season 3, right? Is that correct, Finn? Finn, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm getting red. I feel it. My face, the blood, and everything just starting to do this.
I just So for those of you on Spotify, you won't be able to see what I'm about to do, but I'm going to see. As you know, I've been growing out my hair, and I'm letting my hair down. It's crazy right now because it was in a ponytail. But that being said, my buddy Finn Foster, in the very beginning of this season, he told me that he was going to grow out his hair. He told me that he was going to do it. And I said, Finn, there's no way that you, yourself, knowing who you are, will ever grow out your hair. And he's like, bro, you're going to doubt me? How could you ever doubt me? And I was like, what?
I did say that.
I don't doubt you. I just know you, all right? My friend, my buddy, my pal, my bro, all right? That's what I told him. And he said, I can't believe you'd ever doubt me. So about 2 months into his $50 bet of him growing his hair out, he went and he cut it. And as you can see, he has now a fresh cut. Looks good. Looks sharp. Looks very sharp. But he has a very fresh haircut. And I just thought that, considering, we are friends here in the Best U Nation, we're talking about being the best you, we have to claim some form of accountability. Finn, what do you say? And Kaylee, I apologize that you're here on this episode to see this, but you have to be here. We have to have some accountability. Finn, tell me, what do you have to say to the Best U Nation? Go.
I don't know what to say. I cut my hair. I couldn't do it. I was impatient, and I was getting frustrated. I had hair going over my ears, and I was like, nope, can't do it. Boom. And I gave up. And the thing is, I think I'm gonna be honest.
Yep.
Being the best me, I had told you before I cut it. I said, Adler, I don't think I can do this. He said, "Yep, you already gave up." And I'm like, "No, I got this." And I still was like, "Yo, dude, I gotta cut my hair. Can't do it." But that's okay. I lost. It was the most expensive haircut I've ever had in my entire life because I technically spent $20 to get the haircut, and I still owed somebody $30. So I really ended up spending $50 in total for 2 months. Because I was supposed to get a cut in January, guys, and we're still not even in October.
We're still in September, ladies and gents. And yes, as you can see, Finn has just recently got a new haircut. So
yesterday.
Yesterday.
And I shaved.
Yes. I'd have to just bring that up. It's
sorry,
one
Kaylee,
of those
that
things
you're
that
here to be part of the roasting here.
the best you nation means that we have to have some form of accountability. And ladies and gentlemen of the world, because we're not just in America. We're in Germany, some friends in Germany, some friends in Canada, Brazil, and so on and so forth. I just want you guys to know that my friend Finn,
I'm up. I think I'm up.
His hair. Well, to me, you're on my right, but he cut his hair. I just want to put that out there. This guy, you said up. He cut his hair. I'm done. It's finished.
And Kaylee's on my right side. Right side.
Thank you.
This side.
Kaylee's
Zoom.
down below for me.
Side.
Yeah. She's down below.
But you know what, guys? This is what we do. We love people. And, Kaylee, we have talked about something that I think there's a lot of people out there who are going to listen and hear this when it comes out. Mm-hmm. When it does drop, people are going to know that it's okay, that sometimes relationships aren't going to be balanced. Relationships aren't always going to work out. Relationships aren't meant to break you down. It's meant to either grow or not grow at all. And that doesn't mean that you have to fall back and fall on the ground and start over again. Sometimes we're just not ready to be awesome with somebody else. And that's okay. Individual awesomeness is the saving grace, because at the end of the day, like Adler said, I'd rather be miserable on my own. If on the flip side, I'd rather be awesome alone, knowing that I have the sustainability to stay awesome alone than being with somebody who doesn't want to be awesome or isn't seeing that awesome in the relationship. And I'm just happy that you are in a place now where you're happy, that you get to grow as Kaylee, that your boyfriend can grow as who he is, and you guys still have an awesome relationship. That's something that you don't hear from a lot of young people anymore. Because everything these days, to me, and I'm just gonna be honest, I shoot it straight. It's very superficial for a lot of people. It's all about, hey, I got a boyfriend. Hey, I got a girlfriend. Hey, look at me. Look at that. Do. Boom. It's all about a social gathering and a status quote. And it's not about that. It's about, I want to grow with you. I want more with you. I want to dig deeper with you. I want to find a place where we can have a common foundation. And that part is super hard to find anywhere, at all anymore. And so I feel like a lot of people hearing you today and just being a part of what we believe, and just helping people become better at being themselves, reaching the potential that they have in their life. Your experience is lived amongst thousands, hundreds, millions of young adults and people in their middle ages, and even grandpas and grandmas. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, I'm sure there's times, well, actually, my grandparents do argue and fight, and they sometimes aren't awesome together. But that's just part of the experience of life. And when you've been together for over 50 years, I guess that's what just happens. But again, Adler and I we are the DJs of a Christmas party. We'll be the DJs of your wedding later down the road. And we want to be a part of that. Like, we love people, and we're so thankful to have you here. And
thank you for coming and being with us. We appreciate you.
Of course. Thanks for having me on this. Really,
of course.
Absolutely. I'm excited to meet you in person. Like, this is cool. Yeah. But hanging out and just goofing off and just living life.
Just overall being silly and just making memories. But as we wrap this episode up, there is some big news that we, I think the last episode we talked about some big news we're going to be doing, right? So let me just, I'm going to pull up my notes real quick just to make sure that I get it exactly on the money. So, guys, girls, Finn, I need your help with this. Can you pull out the prop? I need the prop.
I thought I was
go
a
prop.
Man, I'm not good enough. Bummer. I'm just kidding. What am I pulling out?
I'm going to give you the count of 3. 3, 2, 1. Well, bam! Right here. If you look closely, it says the Best You Nation is the exclusive Best You Nation t-shirt. Woo! My gosh, that looks clean. That looks clean. That's amazing right there. So if you are, hey, you can wear it. It's fine. Hey, if you love the Best You Nation, you want to support your boys Finn and Adler, please do us a favor. We're going to do a slight little raffle to earn a free shirt. You want a free shirt to support and show your love on the Best You Nation. All you have to do is the following. We need you to tag 2 people under we're going to do a post about the shirts. It's not out yet. I just want to clarify. It's not out yet, but once it does come out, we want you to tag 2 people under the new post and then share it on your story for a chance to win an exclusive Best You Nation t-shirt.
Spicy.
And if you want, and if obviously if, there's nothing wrong with getting it for free. Tag 2 people, show your love, show your support. But if for some reason you just want to just buy the shirt outright because you just love us that much, that's some serious love. Then we are gonna put a link in the we're gonna attach a link, and then all you got to do is just order it from that website. So this is something that we've been kind of keeping under wraps for quite some time. We actually have a whole fall edition. We have Finn, tell us what all we have. We have sweatshirts, and we have what else?
We have some sweaters for men and women.
Yep.
We have some, because it's sweater weather and us Floridians really get cold down here, like 72 degrees, whatever that means. We have some fall sweater weathers coming out. We have some, what is that called? Wow. It's not a sweater. It's a, I forgot the name of it.
Your mind went blank. We have short sleeve shirts. We have long sleeve shirts. We have sweatshirts. We have hoodies.
Hoodies.
So,
wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I couldn't think of the word hoodie.
So, yeah, it's all good, man. I got you. That's what we're here for. But we have those, and they are readily available. But if you want a chance to win a free shirt, all you have to do is just tag 2 people under the post that we're going to put out today, and it's going to be of the shirt. And once we put that post out, you tag 2 people that are either would be interested or whatever the case may be, and then share it onto your story, and then you get a chance to enter a raffle. And I think we're going to have, how many winners are we going to have in total?
5.
I think 5 winners. Yeah.
But I got a question, Adler.
So, yep.
Or Kaylee. Even Kaylee probably knows exactly
Ooh,
what our Instagram handle is. What is our Instagram handle, Kaylee? What is our Instagram handle? Do you know what it is?
That's a lot of pressure.
That's what's up. At the Best You Nation. That's right.
You know
We gotta hook her up with the shirt. She just got that right. That's pretty intense. Yeah. Ladies and gents, you can follow us on the Best You Nation on Instagram, the Best You Nation on YouTube, the Best You Nation on Spotify, the Best You Nation on Apple Podcasts. We are literally the Best You Nation on anything. And if you, for some reason, you don't feel like typing and your fingers are tired and you just ask Siri or ask Alexa to hook you up with the Best You Nation, and they will find us. Okay, both.
I did it the other day, actually. I asked Alexa to play our most recent episode. She's like, playing the Best You Nation with Finn and Adler. Something about extended, some kind of extended thing. But yes, we're everywhere. But if you really want to follow the amazing ray of sunshine today, follow Kaylee at Kaylee Beach Girl on Instagram. She is fantastic. She's got some music videos out there. So don't hesitate to go follow her. Go see what she's doing, because she is absolutely amazing. So I just don't.
She might pursue a career in teaching people how to dance too. She can teach how to shuffle.
You might need someone to teach her. You might need someone to manage your. I can't ever say the word choreography. I can't even say the word.
Choreography.
This is where I'm at right here. This is where I'm at. Wedding day. I'm just right here. It's right here.
Love it. I'll teach you guys.
The only thing I know how to shuffle are cards.
I can't even do that. I don't know how to do that.
Well, if you teach me to shuffle the dance shuffle, then I'll teach you how to shuffle cards.
There we go. Perfect.
I think yours will be more fun, though.
That's fair enough, guys. But anyway, thank you for tuning in to the last episode of Season 3. Season 4 is going to be coming out, and we have so much more in store and so much more to announce in a later date. But for now, enter the raffle for your chance to win a free shirt. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Finn, tell them goodbye.
See you later, guys.